security in their neighborhoods. If there are any children, if there are spouses, that a pregnant sister or mother, wife should do what? Have the baby, and both mother and baby be alive, have access to hospitals, have access to schools. If you're trading, you have access to roads that you can, and markets to do your business. You can travel from one end of the country to the other, and you can worship God the way you wish, standing, sitting, bending, kneeling, howsoever you wish, without interference. Now, every Nigerian desires these. And it's no magic being able to provide it to our people. Section 14 of our Constitution is very clear. The safety and security of the people is the primary responsibility of government. And the National Human Rights Commission is to reinforce that message, to demand it, to seek it, to make sure that the government lives up to it. So, if there are no schools for kids to go to, it's the responsibility of government to provide it. If there are no hospitals for our mothers who are pregnant, it is the responsibility of government to provide it. If our people are being killed by violence, mindless as it is the responsibility of government to reverse it. If Nigerians cannot travel from one end of the country to the other, it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that that happens. If it is not happening, it is the responsibility of a National Human Rights Commission to ask questions. If the police cannot catch the armed robbers or the people who are making life unsafe for us, it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that the police does that. And if it's failing, a National Human Rights Commission can pose questions. And I do think we need to be clear about the lines and the channels. And that is why it is important for us to keep reminding the politicians of their responsibilities. Because when they fail our people, when they fail the country, they endanger the possibility of realizing these rights that make living worth the while.
All right, let's even talk about our security agencies, the police especially, because over time or over the years, many Nigerians have always complained about the way they go about their business, cases of extrajudicial killings, police brutality, and the like. I mean, looking at the police as it is, do you really think we've missed it? I mean, talking about the country as it is, human rights and the way the police is being set up, is being structured, to ensure that Nigerians really enjoy human rights. Is there some kind of a disconnect? What actually is going on, with this problem that many Nigerians feel is going on within the police in terms of protecting their rights and not getting the best out of them?
The military did a lot of damage to our country, sadly. And I think we've got to admit it. And one of the things they did was undermine the Nigerian police force. The police has the biggest population of men and women in arms across the country. And the police used to be able to do a great deal to hold people who commit deviant behavior accountable, people who commit crime. But in doing that, the police investments in police were such that the police could invest in detection, invest in intelligence, and be able to have assets across the country who could locate, isolate, learn about where these people were, and try and take action to isolate them and hold them accountable. But by the time the military left power in 1999, the police was in very serious trouble. They did not have enough personnel. They were grossly underfunded. Their morale had been destroyed. Their communication architecture across the country had been ruined by the military. And so what you had, and of course their training and doctrine capability in terms of police training colleges and all of that had been destroyed. So you could no longer produce a genuine production line of law enforcement professionals who could protect people across the country. And by the way, the chief of police in Nigeria is not the Inspector General of Police, it's the president. Under the Constitution and under the Police Act, the president has operational control of police. And that, again, I think is one of the things we've got to change. Because the nature of the presidency is such that as great a person as any president may be, the person who does the abusing is not a president. It is the court of the president. It's the people around a president who do the abusing. And quite often, a president doesn't even know until it is too late that a police is being abused in his name. And I do think we need to begin to reform the police quite fundamentally and move it away from this disposition that makes it open to abuse.
All right, Prof. I also want to take you now up on the issue of the events going on in Enugu State, the recent happenings, which I'm sure you're also aware of. The stories of the governor and the First Lady of Enugu State, some kind of conflict going on, and many Nigerians seem to be in a state of confusion over what is happening there. But we'll just take this a quick break, and when we come back, we shall continue with our discussion. It's still Professor Odinkalu, the Chairman of the Governing Council of the National Human Rights Commission. We'll be right back with more. Please stay with us.